one of the things we want to take a second and make sure that we understand is why are some things a liquid at room temperature, why are some things a solid at room temperature, why are some things a gas at room temperature. And all this is related to what's called intermolecular forces. And the idea here is that molecules have an interaction with each other. And that's what we're going to be investigating in this section. And these interactions are actually cohesive, so they tend to cause our molecules to interact with each other. And overall, the idea is these intermolecular forces have an effect on the physical properties of a compound. So if the intermolecular forces increase, we tend to make a solid. So that makes sense. If the molecules inside of a substance have a very strong interaction, well, they tend to be a solid at, say, room temperature. The weaker ones tend to be gases. So if there's not a strong interaction between my molecules or atoms inside of a substance, they tend not to stick together, and so they turn into gases. So we're going to be talking about these intermolecular forces theoretically, and our given conclusions are actually going to allow us to estimate relative amounts of certain properties for compounds. In particular, the first one, we'll talk about other ones, is that, as intermolecular forces tend to increase inside of a substance, so if one substance has a stronger intermolecular force than another one, its boiling point is going to be higher. It's going to be harder for me to separate the molecules in a liquid and turn it into a gaseous phase. Also, the melting point is going to be a little bit higher. If the solids, if the molecules in a solid are very tightly packed and they have a very strong intermolecular force, well, it's going to be harder to turn those into a liquid where the molecules are a little bit more fluid between them. So initially, we're going to be looking at four main types of intermolecular forces. We'll talk about a couple other ones later on. So the four main types are ionic, hydrogen bonding, dipole, and dispersion intermolecular forces. And we're going to talk about each one individually, talk about how can we tell if a molecule has one or not, and then at the end we're going to compare all these things together and talk about which one's the strongest, and this is going to allow us to kind of get a basic estimate of which molecule might have a higher boiling point than another molecule.